Whether or not I like this movie, when I was done, there was just one statement on my mind
Yeah.
after I was finished, and that was, this movie is up. All right, y'all sit up here and watch this like this is romantic, like, oh, this is some YA right here. No, this is worse than The Purge. Somebody who can't say that I'm the biggest fan of the Hunger Games. I like the Hunger Games, but I can't say I'm a big fan like some of the the hardcores out there. But I will say I'm a hardcore President Snow hater. President Snow, as far as I'm concerned, he's one of the biggest assholes in cinema, man.
I thought you liked President Snow.
I like to hate him. Love to hate him. Love to hate him.
Because he's smug.
Man, he's smart. But let's not forget the fact that he kills children, too. I mean, his whole political career is based on killing kids, man.
Yeah.
And he's smug about it.
Yeah.
He told Katniss one time, he's like, oh, I have no problem killing children. It's like, bitch, fuck you. I love that in the background, like, no way! Oh. Yeah, ain't so smug now, are you? Look at that face.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's a long time in coming.
It's been a long time coming. He thought he was gonna have an easy way out too, because he had cancer or something. Coughing up that blood. He was like, yeah, I guess I got away with this shit. They're like, nah.
No, you didn't.
But like a lot of villains, even the worst ones, there's a point where people say, well, I mean, they weren't that bad.
It wasn't always bad.
No. And the same goes for Coriolanus Snow. You such an asshole. Anus is in the name. Coriolanus Snow. Coral anus. Yeah, man. He's one of those guys that his friends might say, man, I don't know what happened. He was cool back in the day.
Like we say about Alex Jones.
Yes. Like, if we don't stop Alex Jones, well, Alex Jones did try to kill children and families. So he is like President Snow. You're right, Martin. Oh, he wasn't that bad back in the day, though. Or was he? The thing is that this movie attempts to answer that question. Was he a decent guy, corrupted by uncontrollable circumstances, or was he always an evil bitch? The thing with him is that this movie, I mean, there's an argument to be made for that, because with this film right here, a lot of people thought that at once there was hope for him. This movie, this is the 10th annual Hunger Games. It's still early. They just now, when we saw the Hunger Games that took place in the future, they were on their 60th annual Hunger Games or something. So this is still very early. They're still trying to get the games right. One of the things that they were doing, though, they were still testing out giving the contestants who are children who have to kill each other as punishment for a rebellion that happened. Some old shit happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But they said, you ain't gonna ever forget that, what you did. I bet you won't do that shit again. We ain't gonna make y'all fight, we're gonna make your kids fight. But it was bound to happen. One of the mentors would probably fall in love with one of his students. And that's what happens with Snow, young Snow right here, where he actually starts to fall for this girl. What's her name? Lucy Gray?
Yeah.
Lucy Gray, who's played by Rachel Zegler. Some people thought, if that worked out, what if that had worked out? Would he be a better person? And why didn't it work out to the point where, well, we got the Snow that we have today, or had before that mob tore his ass up? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer for The Hunger Games, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is based on a book. It wasn't just a studio making it happen,
Yeah, but it's based on a book that was written after the trilogy was done.
That is true. So
it's one of those where hey, can you come back and write something else
so
we can make some more movies?
Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get a fantastic beast, which was not so fantastic. So let's see where this falls. And we'll be right back with our review. Whether or not I like this movie, when I was done, there was just one statement on my mind after I was finished, and that was, this movie is fucked up. All right, y'all sit up here and watch this like this is romantic, like, oh, this is some YA bullshit right here. No, this is worse than The Purge. This is worse than Hostel. These are horror movies as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it is the whole thing with the Hunger Games, like them saying like we need this. It is very much like The Purge. They treat it that way.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, it's worse than The Purge. It's worse than Hostel. You know, because this emphasizes killing kids.
Yeah.
You know, Hostel will like kill adults and just kind of mind their own business. You know, The Purge even says keep your kids inside. And you know how people be like, no, we ain't gonna kill the kids. We'll come after your grown ass. And this is the complete opposite. Mm-hmm. This is, you know, this emphasizes kids killing each other while adults watch it for fun. You know, the fact that this was recommended by somebody and somebody said, yeah, let's watch 8-year-olds slice each other up. You know, and then somebody said, yeah, that's a good idea. I was like, this is fucked up, man.
Well, what's even more fucked up is that they have these games where kids kill each other, and then they did it so much that people started to get bored with it, and the ratings were going down.
Yeah, they had to find more horrible ways to kill them. They had to invent creatures.
Yeah, they're like, what can we do to get more people to watch kids killing each other?
To spice it up. I was like, Jesus, the writers messed up for thinking up this. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the reason why I say this, man, it's disturbed me. Because this one right here, even though being a prequel, I said, boy, y'all hit a new low with this. I mean, I was watching this and I said, man, when they brought out not just a Down syndrome girl, but a tiny little sweet Down syndrome girl, they put her in the middle of the race, she's talking about, when can I go home? I was like, man, this is just mean. This is not nice.
It is fun. I mean, not fun, but funny, interesting to see where the Hunger Games started before they got to where we were with Katniss.
Oh yeah.
In those early days where there was no fucks given.
None at all. Man, I'll elaborate more on that later.
Because by the time you get to the Katniss Hunger Games, it's like, oh well, all these are competent competitors. Where it's anybody's game.
They train them.
Yeah. But with these, they were like, yo, get out there. You're like, you still in a diaper? I don't give a shit. You better fight.
You got one leg? I don't give a fuck. I mean, they got these kids of all ages, didn't care what was wrong with them, anything. And they, instead of training them and putting them in nice, competitive suits and everything, they took them and dumped their ass out in the truck.
And the thing was, they
like
took them,
trash.
They took them from where they were, put them in a zoo. Didn't give them back. Like you said, by the time they compete, they're still wearing the same clothes they got captured in.
Yeah, they
still got the same dirt on them. They haven't even been washed. They barely been fed.
Yeah, they still dressed up like the Little Rascals and shit. And they put them out there like Newsies.
Like Oliver Twist.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But I gotta tell you, at the same time, I kind of admired it. I was like, I was impressed by how low they sunk. I'm like, if you're gonna be evil, be evil. I mean, I was like, goddamn, okay, point taken. Shit. I get it. But I will say this. I'm not saying this because I like to see children be murdered. That's the whole thing that drives me to actually want to see the villains in this movie get theirs. But it's the level of interest that piqued my interest more. I'm sorry, it's the level of evil in this, the level of evil that piqued my interest even more because, they talk about how this world came to be. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate how they do this as a prequel because they, they really flesh this world out very well. We're talking about the story a little bit later, but as far as, they all use the term world building. As far as building this world out and fleshing it out, I thought it was well thought out because as a prequel, they really designed things relative to the Hunger Games that happened 60 years later. Mm-hmm. The early games don't have that technology. Yeah. That we see in the Hunger Games.
Very low tech.
No, it is, man. The early games don't have the same technology and the advanced technology, the weapons and all the and even the challenges. This is just raw. With this one, it's more savage, it's more primal. Yeah. It's more like a gladiator sport.
Yeah, because in what we're used to with the Hunger Games, they're out in a big field or park. Yeah. Where you can run around. Here, it's all in one small arena.
Man, it's crazy because the Hunger Games, so back then they didn't have the budget that they had later.
Yeah.
So you know the weapons are just mostly rusty farm tools. And because of the it's just these old rusty ass farm tools, they got these kids just acting crazy. These kids are really acting feral, man. And
yeah, like a major weapon is a pitchfork.
yeah, that's it. Man, later on they gave them like, weaponized sticks and shit. Cool things with lasers on it and all that kind of stuff. No, they gave them foods like what you said, pitchfork. Get things somebody got a shovel.
Yeah.
And it just makes these kids act even crazier. And it just makes, for me, the scenes more intense.
Joseph, we gotta go. Come on. We get out of here. We gotta go.
So I got something to say about that one particular thing right there. We'll get into that later. But, man, as you can see, the movie's more brutal than ever. And, everything's moving so fast right here. But they, like Martin said, they don't give a fuck at all. They don't care about your age, your handicap. There's a dude out there with one hand.
Yeah.
They don't care about your health. You could kind of see it if you look in the background, but they had one girl out there, she's already half dead.
Yeah.
She's out there with tuberculosis or something.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she's so sick she can't even walk. When they dumped them weapons out there, she tried to crawl that night. I'm like, Jesus, man. Like I said, I know that the districts are trying to, punish. These districts being punished for an uprising, but goddamn, man, you don't have to be that shitty with it.
Plus, usually, if you're going to set up a sporting event, you want the sides to be evenly matched.
Yeah. I mean, they put kids in there who are 6 and 7 years old.
Well, especially when you're from somebody from the district, it's like, all right, you got to be a mentor, and this is your mentee right here. You're like, oh man, fuck, come on.
You gave me a toddler. What am I supposed to do with this? You better make him a badass toddler. I don't know what you want me to say. But yeah, man, I don't know. I will say, because of this being so much more raw and so much, less tech involved, I thought that it was a little more intense for me. It was very brutal, man. I also like the look of it, because just as I was talking about, with the games are not as advanced yet because it's 60 years before. The technology, the early technology shows everywhere. You could see the TVs and some of the way the buildings are constructed. I'll give you a good example. It's sort of that future Art Deco thing that they do with BioShock.
Loki.
What's that?
I was saying Loki, but yeah,
BioShock.
BioShock
Right here. Yeah, this is BioShock right here, and it looks very much like this in certain parts. Yeah, in fact, I could take this and put it into this movie right here. You probably wouldn't even tell the difference.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this has problems, but I will say that I do think that the story is told well, because I think the direction in this is very good. I think the direction and the editing flows very nicely in this, man. And I think with its problems, they still have some brilliant moments of storytelling, because it's one of those movies. I mean, you're killing kids, and you're talking about the morality that's involved with that, which is wrong, of course. But then they talk about how your outlook changes depending on the situation that these people are put in, and so you're being pulled emotionally and morally in all these different directions. Because while I was watching this, I was thinking, because I was looking at these kids, man. These kids, they're just being dumped into this, this dirty ass arena to kill each other, and people are watching it. And the whole time I'm thinking, man, these poor kids right here, man. But then, there's that same kid that I'm looking at and saying, oh man, I feel so bad for that kid. Minutes later, I'm like, man, fuck that bitch. Get her, kill her.
Man, she's a victim of the system.
I know. And that's why I'm saying, I don't want to say that, but I'm just like, kill her before she gets you.
Yeah.
Because she's the worst one out of all of them.
Well, yeah, you watch all that with Lucy Gray going, Jessup. It's like, man, don't worry about Jessup. Worry about you.
Yeah. Exactly, man. It's the same kid where I was a little while ago, like, oh, poor you. I'm like, no, kill that bitch. Now. Yeah, I like that. I like how it changes your perspective based on situations, because that's the point of the movie. The movie says, the reason why little Snow, or young Snow right here, the reason why he kind of becomes what he becomes, because it's been pretty much hammered into his head that everybody's bad.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to protect yourself against everyone before that evil comes out of them.
Sure. Well, you know, you're getting what you see is the young Snow before he was quote unquote corrupted.
Yeah.
Where he was part of the system, but he was also seeing like, I don't think this is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where he was not quite a rebel, but somebody going like, I don't think this is right.
He was still on the fence about things.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
So you go like, oh, he wasn't always bad, but
there's things to kind of hint that maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do like that it's a lot of it is left for you to kind of make up on your own, and I do appreciate that about the film. They're not trying to pull ain't trying to pull no Darth Vader prequels Star Wars where he's running around talking about yippee and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, what an innocent kid he was. It's a shame what happened.
No.
Well, it is, but he wasn't that far away from it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking about this character in a little bit. Let me see here. How do you feel about this, though, so far? I was asking you about it, and you being very vague to me. Yes, you were. Yeah. 'Cause I even saw. I looked over on his card last night. We have to fill out these cards to tell about the movie or what we think about them when we're done. And I sneaked over on yours, and I saw you over there like, don't look at my shit. And it's like, hey, and by the way, I might be lying. What did you? Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, I circled the positive.
That's what I saw.
Yes, and I can say that when it was all said and done, I felt more positive than negative.
Okay.
But there was some negative.
Okay.
There was enough to make me debate.
Okay.
Which way I was going to fall on it.
And which way did you actually fall then?
Well, I felt, like I said, I felt there was more positive than negative.
I'm curious to know, what are some of the negatives? Because I've been talking about the positives. What are some of the negatives?
So, one, a movie like this, even a book, it really has to justify its existence. Because you're like, listen, we had, it was 4 movies, but it was 3 books. And I'd read those books before the movies came out.
Okay.
And I was like, man, what a great series this was. And with no need to have the backstory filled in. Like, they told me enough. It was like when you watch Star Wars and they mention the Clone Wars, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. But when they actually show the Clone Wars, it's like, that you made it so less interesting than what I thought it was. So to come into this, it's like, you got to justify this. And while I don't think it does it completely, I think it does it more than not. And it's interesting to see the young Snow. But what I found negative was kind of like a lot of the stuff in the middle, and how much it was crowbarring the song part of it in.
Yeah.
Lucy Gray with those songs. I was like, man, are you trying to sell a soundtrack here? Because we don't need this.
So Zegler here, who's Lucy Gray, that's the thing with her character. Her character pretty much inspires people. In fact, it almost gets her out of trouble, saves her life because she sings so much. That's the thing. She's an amazing singer. The district knows her for that. And so they do have a lot of moments where they just throw those songs in.
Yeah, like they, like the Peacekeepers let her sing a whole song, and as we saw, in the later Hunger Games, Katniss just even doing this, they were like, bitch, no. And everybody else who made that sign, we beating your asses too.
It might be because of her. Just years earlier.
I mean, it could be, but it was just like, you just one of those things, you're like, man, nobody would let you sit there and sing that whole song. They'd be like, bring your ass over here.
Yeah.
And it comes, and I'm not just harping on one scene. They crowbar that song in, or her singing a bunch.
No, I hear you, man. Well, Martin, you saying that, I hate to crowbar in this ad, but I got to, man.
Got to do your thing.
I got to do my thing real quick before I move on to something.
You want the Peacekeepers to beat your ass?
No, I don't. Let me sing about this ad right here that I got to do. Hey, listen, I'll do this ad real quick because it's something I think you need to hear. Because some of you are already thinking about, and look, it's November, and like I told Martin yesterday, when November comes around, everybody's already thinking of December. And so people are thinking about, what am I going to start buying for people out there that I got to get gifts for? And if I got to get gifts, I don't want to get the same old. That's where uncommon goods come from. They're all out of ordinary. So don't even try to buy any over there. They have only the great, uncommon, and extraordinary things. And see what I mean by them being uncommon and extraordinary is because common goods is where you go to shop these items where These items are not mass produced, you know, like from some corporation. These are made by artists and small businesses and other businesses out there to be unique.
Oh, okay.
And that's the cool thing about this, man. You know, and it's made for any kind of person out there in your life, kids, adults, men, women, in between. You know, like I said, whether you're supporting artists out there, large or small, or independent businesses, these are products that are made in small batches. So telling you about this right now because a lot of these, this is the cool thing about it, they're so unique that a lot of them probably will sell out before the holidays even done. So go in, if you see something you like, or I'm showing you right now, go over there and check it out. And there's a lot of stuff here, so don't worry, you'll find something. If one thing you can't get, you'll find something else. You know, Uncommon Goods, they look for products that are also high quality, very unique, as I told you. And here's the big thing, you know, they want products that are often handmade or made right here in the old U.S. of A.
That's
Martin.
right.
Patriotism still exists somewhere, Martin. It exists here at Common Goods. And they, you know, they want to make sure that these are out of the ordinary gifts that you just won't find anywhere. And you'll have art and jewelry, kitchen stuff, things for your home, things for your bar. You know, you're trying to make that perfect old fashioned. They got something on here for you.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. Nothing lackluster over here, man. Oh, and here's the thing. I mean, at least get something to make you feel like you're doing something for somebody out there, because you're not just buying for yourself. When you buy something over here at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 back to a nonprofit partner of your choice. And so far, they've donated $2.5 million at this point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're man. Yeah, no, they're very generous over there, too.
No kidding.
So, and I've actually ordered something from them without any kind of push from anybody.
What'd you order?
I got this acupressure neck relief cushion.
Looks like a sex toy.
Well, you know, once my neck starts feeling better. I'm sure there's multiple uses with this. I'll let you know. Boy, my neck feels good. But hey, I paid for this, so use it for something else. Now listen, I want you to go over there and get something for yourself. Check it out. You will find something that you like. I know you will. And if you don't find something you like for yourself, you're going to find something for somebody else. So let me help you out with that by giving you 15% off. To get that 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/toasted and get that 15% off with that code right there. Again, that is uncommongoods.com/toasted to get 15% off. I want to thank Uncommon Goods for sponsoring this portion of the show. Don't go over there looking for ordinary. They're all out of ordinary. I also want to thank you out there for your support. Thank you very much. So here's something that I really admire about the movie, because I think there are some small problems with the story. I'll tell you right now, I like this. I actually like this a lot. But, you know, there are things out there that I could pick out and criticize. But I think that the movie gets by on a lot of things that help that, whatever criticism that I have. And for one, I think the movie relies on performances. And, you know, they do that in place of just trying to rely on thrill of the games.
Sure.
You know, because that's what the Hunger Games were. They sold it by the games. And later on, it became more character-driven as Katniss, you know, started to turn against the Capitol. But, you know, with this, it's split up in 3 parts, or 3 chapters.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to the 3rd chapter, we're not even thinking about those games anymore. The games are done.
Actually, I found the games to be the least interesting part of it.
And yeah,
I like the setup a lot, and I really love the 3rd chapter.
You know what? And I do too, because, you know, by the time we get to the 3rd chapter, the games are done. You know, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the characters, and mostly we're talking about Snow. But the cast is great, man. So, you know, we've been talking about the characters in here, mainly, you know, the character of Snow. And I really like that character, for one, because of the performance. Tom Blythe is the actor that plays him. And he does a good job, because one of the things that you want to do when you see this kind of origin of a super villain like this, you want to forget that they're evil for a moment.
Yeah.
And every now and then he does something like, oh man, that's messed up. I knew that. I knew you weren't good. But most of the time I'm thinking like he makes me forget that he's evil. Or at least an evil character later on.
Because most of his actions, none of his actions are evil. When he does, at best, they're self-serving. Like, because he starts out as a character who's looking out for himself, trying to advance. So that's already established that that's what he's about. But mostly he does act selfishly in a way. And even when you go like, yeah, but that's to help you. He's like, well, yeah, but he already established that. But he is doing things to help other people. He's trying to not be the assholes that are around him. But he's in a system.
Yeah, no, again, that's the thing about it. There's circumstances, because that's the thing with Snow right here. I do feel bad for him very little as a young, fresh-faced Snow, because with him, it's almost like I said, all these circumstances set in place, including life. It's almost like life said, hey, listen, you can try to be good all you want to. You pulled the evil card. Yeah. That's what you're going to do. Yeah. We already set everything in place for you. So that's the way it's going to go. The capital is insidious, man.
They are.
And if they have plans for you to be a certain thing or go a certain way, that is what you're going to do.
Right. And they'll let you think that you're doing something different.
Yeah.
only to come right back to like, yeah, this is where we knew you were going to be.
No. So it's sad because it was just destiny. I would say in the sense that his roadmap was laid out by the Capitol. People had plans for him, and they made sure those plans went exactly as they wanted them to. One character in particular did, but also, I like that the book is told. The book is told from his POV, but the movie is not like that. The movie actually, it tells the story through a lot of characters' POV and point of view, and so that way, it's not something where we're getting this whole unreliable narrator,
right?
Because that's what the book does. He tells you things, and you see that, oh man, this dude is clearly a bad person. He's just fooling himself. The movie doesn't do that. The movie makes you think like, man, this really. I mean, he's trying. There are moments, there's small moments where he's trying, and it's just, they're just not going to let it go that way. Also, I know what you're saying with the singing and everything, man. But Rachel Zegler as what's her name, as Lucy Gray. I will say that Rachel Zegler is very charismatic in this role, man. This is probably her most charismatic role to date so far. Besides the singing, she has this old country-ass accent that I thought, okay, it's going to take me a while. I'm going to let it go, but it's going to take me a while to get used to this because it feels, it's one of those country accents that feels like an actor doing a country accent. She sounded like Dolly Parton.
Yeah, it never quite connected with me.
Yeah.
I was like, the whole time I was like, okay, it's a good accent, but I'm not buying it. I
like her. She really, like I said, she really is a person that commands the screen when she comes on because she has to perform as the singer, the lead singer of a band. And she comes on, I'm like, damn, she's pretty good. If this was like Nashville or something, but I still like her, but it's just that accent that gets to me.
Yeah.
I tell you who I liked, and even that was somewhat of I'm not gonna say it was a problem. I think it was placed kind of weird in the movie. I wish I had his picture over here. Hold on, give me a second. Oh, there he is. I really like Jason Schwartzman as Lucky Flickerman or whatever.
Lucky Flickerman. I was like, man, he could just be Caesar Flickerman from the later movies because he just seemed like a young Stanley Tucci in this.
Yeah. I don't know if that was his granddaddy or whatever, but he's that he comes in and he's the comic relief. He's the humor in the movie. And sometimes his humor is placed awkwardly in the film.
Well, they always had him pop in every so often and say a quick thing. It wasn't always funny, but I noticed the audience always laughed every time he came in.
You know what the audience was laughing? Because they were nervous.
Yeah.
Because all this shit was tense. I mean, it was like, because this movie's so dark and depressing that when he comes in and makes a joke, I'm like, listen, it might not even be funny, but thank you, I needed that. You know what I mean? It's like, don't take this shit on the road or anything, but right now it is very needed. And Jason Schwartzman is just good in this role.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he has, it's just crazy lines like, see what happens when you do things? It's just stuff that I mean making any sense, but in the context of this, much needed at that point because the movie can almost be oppressive with this darkness at times, man. Okay, so here's a character that I think people are fine with, but I kind of had a problem with.
Okay.
Viola Davis. I forgot her character's name.
Yeah, me too.
But she is the one that is creating all of the she's creating the games.
Yeah.
And so you see her right here. She looks like she's a part of a funk band from the 70s, but it was her character is so cartoony, like a mad scientist from a children's show. You know, and she's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's
she's
the thing.
good.
Like it didn't bother me because she's so good, but man, I get everything you're saying.
And it did. Let me say this. It didn't. I'm saying it stood out to me. It didn't make me dislike the movie. It didn't bother me that much.
Right.
But I did say it does feel out of place. You know, she feels like something that's, you know, that should have been on Lazy Town or something, man.
Come on, man. Not Lazy Town.
Lazy Town, man. I'm gonna say, yeah, she's like a puppet or something, man. Everything, because I understand they have exaggerated
Maybe
clothes
Dark
and
Crystal,
appearances.
but
Okay,
not-
yeah.
Not Lazy Town.
But you know, but between her and Peter Dinklage, now Peter Dinklage,
You mean Tyrion?
yeah, oh man,
he was Tyrion in this
he
movie.
played the same character.
But he was great. I loved him.
He was
I was
amazing.
like, I want more of him in this movie.
He's the dean.
Yeah.
And you know what? And let me just say this: while I'm criticizing Viola Davis's character, her along with Peter Dinklage, I love them together because so all these are kids that are graduating, like from the Capitol's version of high school here, I guess, or whatever, and those two together, Viola Davis and Peter Dinklage, she the creator of the games, him the dean of this school. Together, it's like they're running an evil Hogwarts, man.
Right?
The creator of the Hunger Games themselves.
Throw into the Capitol Arena to fight to the death in the Hunger Games.
You know, it's funny too because when he comes on, man, and he does this through the whole movie, man.
But drinking.
Drinking, boy, taking shots to the head the whole time, and I'm just kind of like, what is going on with this dude right here? I thought that was tequila he actually had, man. But it is an interesting thing with him because you could tell that there's something wrong with this guy, and you know, as the movie goes on, they reveal it. But yeah, I
thought he had an amazing last scene.
Oh, he did. No, you're right. He did. Peter Dinklage. This it's funny because no one ever doubts he's a great actor, but damn, when you see him in something like this, it's like when I'm not saying this movie's bad at all, not at all, but it's still a performance that kind of rises above this movie right here.
Yeah.
He's amazing, man. I will say I don't feel like this movie is a rehash because sometimes they'll do a prequel just to put it out there.
You're right.
You know, I don't feel like this movie is a rehash. The third chapter, like you said, you know, it totally shifts from the Hunger Games to a more personal story about Snow, and I like that. I thought that was pretty bold for this movie. That's so, you know.
Yeah, because you think it's going to be all Hunger Games.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like all said and done, that's not the biggest part of this.
No, not at all, man. When they told you that this is a story about, young Snow, I mean, they were right, and it really does center on him, and I found this story pretty captivating, man. Now, here's what I would tell you this. This movie does something that pissed me off, and it's just, again, some people might say that I'm nitpicking here, but to me, in this movie, they did that whole pet Negro shit. I felt like I had Bob's The Blind Side going on.
Oh, no. I really?
Yeah, because it was one of those things where they had one character, he's the big black guy, and she treated him like a pet bear because he's just there to be walked around. He's not really even a character. He's just there to be just a plot device. I don't know, man. I don't like that kind
Yeah,
of
but
look.
there's another big black dude there who wasn't such.
He was hardly in the movie, though.
Well,
you know, he had a bigger
I don't know.
role.
I feel like he was hardly in the movie. Like even the way she was going like Jessup. I'm like, who is Jessup? Oh, him. Okay,
Yeah.
it didn't seem like he was even a player. What you guys didn't establish why they had such a close relationship.
Yeah, it's just me, man. Like I said, you know, if y'all don't see it, that's fine. I'm not telling anybody to, but I just did not like the way they treated that character right there. That's just something
I mean, look, man, those kids were there to die. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I know they were there to die, but some of them got a longer screen time, more badass roles.
Yeah.
Got to go out there and actually fight. He's the one in the background. Huh? You okay? Yeah, she's the one that she's like, come on. He's like, okay, don't hurt my master. I was just like, I just don't like that look. That's just me.
Okay.
But Also, they do things where they give obvious shout outs to the Hunger Game, and I thought,
Yeah, those were kind of.
I was like, come on, we don't have to do this. I mean, it's so obvious.
Yeah, that just felt like everything was going smoothly in the studio. Still, like, hey, it'd be real cool if you could like mention the like, all right, god damn it.
Yeah, you know, it's like, hey, I'm picking Katniss. I was like,
Yeah, yeah. And they said it 2 or 3 times.
and I was just like, come on, man, y'all don't have to do this. But I tell you though, I liked it enough to give this a matinee. I thought I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Probably give it a lean on high matinee, but yeah, I give it a matinee. And they did a lot more with this than I thought they would. I thought as far as a prequel goes, it did what a prequel's supposed to do. It's supposed to build this world out a little bit more, give you more insight on what it was like before the world that we were introduced to. Does a great job at doing that. And the performances in here are really good. So yeah, I give it kind of a high matinee. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, maybe a regular matinee. I guess I prefer a prequel that will be in the world but tell a different story that has nothing to do with the characters we saw. But it's kind of cool that it ties back with, with President Snow to see. It's interesting to see where he starts. I do like it to where they don't pull the Star Wars where you go like, man, he was just innocent as the driven snow, and then they corrupt him, and you're like, all right, this is a guy who could have easily have gone this way. As much as they tried to say like, so now it's all like about at the end, it's like, so now you understand what the Hunger Games are for, and yes, it's for this. And I was like, nah, I don't still buy that. I don't see a justification for these Hunger Games. Yeah, y'all might need another movie to sell me on that, because something should be at a point where it goes like, all right, you can see why they do this. And I'm still at it like, no, I don't see why y'all do this. This is fucked up.
Yeah.
But so much of it is, man, it could have been a cash grab. Mm-hmm. It could have been terrible. And we've seen that over and over. And this was one where it ended, I was like, you know what? I want to see the next one.
Yeah.
And I think that's the highest compliment you could pay to something like this. So it's a matinee for me. Yeah.
And one thing I will say too, I like that they have characters that early on go into the politics of the Hunger Games. I forgot this character's name, this actor's name, but I like that.
Is that actor, is he Vincent D'Onofrio's son? Because he looks so much like
him. I know. Did Vincent D'Onofrio have a black girlfriend or something? But anyway, no, I liked it. I'm like you, man. I can't wait to see if they do it the next one. You know, a lot of people say they should have split this up in 2, but I kind of agree with that because I like what they were doing with it. But yeah, anyway, if you're a fan of the Hunger Games, I don't see why you wouldn't be pleased with this one. In fact, there was a girl sitting next to us, and she was up there the whole time. No, please. And I was like, I don't even know what she was crying about.
I would only say, like, if you got into the Hunger Games because you really fell into the love story between Katniss and Peeta, this love story is not on that level.
No, it's not.